When a couple of unemployed, aspiring social media influencers moved out to a quiet rural area, nobody expected a thing. After all, on social media, they seemed like a fairly normal, albeit weird, young couple in their 20s. However, little did anyone know what they were like on the inside, and more than that, what they were actually capable of. I think it really goes without saying that a whole lot of people out there don't really like the more traditional types of influencers these days. You know, the kinds of people who stir up depression and feelings of inadequacy by posting about their overly inflated, exaggerated, perfect wealthy lives on social media. Well, some of these wannabe influencers do a whole lot more than just that. Some of them have a very criminal side to them that the general public has no idea of. This is the story of two unemployed social media influencer miscreants, a young couple in their 20s out in Australia. In a small community north of Brisbane called Mount Lee, Cooper Anthony William Bunny and Bella Louise Scheibel had moved into a house together and had been living there for a few weeks. Cooper was a 23-year-old aspiring rapper who called himself Bugs Bunny on social media. There, he described himself as an artist and pushed his Snapchat. He invited his 155 followers to listen to his bars, that's bars with a Z to sound extra cool, and check out his truck.
She's taking those charges for me, cunt. I'm doing it for 10 years now. Fuck me, oh wow. Haven't been caught once, nah. Been done. Doing driving charges. Scat shit on the roads. Getting done off my fucking nut. Cruising around in those red hot cars. Yeah? Alright.
Cooper's girlfriend was a 21-year-old self-proclaimed Onlyfans model named Bella Louise Rose Scheibel. Bella made it no secret that she was a fiend for the drugs, listing her personal Instagram as a pharmacy/drugstore for all to see, as well as calling herself a music slut and showing off her tattoo of a snake on her right arm, among many others. On her OnlyFans profile, she lists herself as a new content creator, saying, in her own words, "I will do just about anything. Message me and you will receive." It seems that the loving couple would post pictures of each other in the act on this account. On more public-facing social media as well, they were very open about their relationship too, with Bella posting a picture of the couple that said, "No matter what, you'll always be my number one. You make life so much more enjoyable. I love you always, Cooper Bunny. Never forget it." While it isn't really known how this unemployed couple made enough to afford their new place, given that their OnlyFans page had very few posts and little traction, it has been assumed that drugs probably played a big part in that. Given Bella's penchant for booger sugar and her listing herself as a pharmacy, it isn't exactly subtle. By selling drugs, they came to meet all sorts of people in the area, both good and bad. There were the more criminal types, and there were the more average people who simply had a hidden addiction. It is believed that this is how they came to meet up with one man in particular, Samuel Harry Wilcox. Samuel was a 23-year-old young man working as a registered nurse. One of his friends who was in the same grade as him at his school, Villanova College at Coorparoo, had nothing but good things to say about him. He said that Samuel was a popular student, adding, "He was a bit cheeky and a person who loved having a laugh." On April 29th, 2024, for reasons that are still unknown, Samuel came over to Bella and Cooper's place. It was there that the worst ordeal of his entire life would begin. Samuel and the couple got into an argument of some sort, the details of which are unclear, and it was then that Cooper and Bella came to completely snap. Bella and Cooper grabbed Samuel and restrained him with fencing wire, holding him captive in their home. They then pulled out their phones and recorded him, humiliating him all the way. In particular, they used their cameras to film his crotch region against his will. But their assault wouldn't end there, not by a long shot. Over the next several days, they continued to use this fencing wire to strangle Samuel over and over again, leaving him woozy, dizzy, and unable to resist anything that they did. This is where the true torture really began. It was from that point onward that they would continue to injure him physically and mentally torture him in various ways for 2 more days until May 1st, injuring him with all manner of household objects over and over again. The end of the assault wouldn't come until the evening of May 1st. This was when Bella and Cooper revealed that they had a gun. A shotgun, to be specific, one that wasn't even legal to own where they lived. They then raised up the shotgun and attempted to finish it. However, Samuel wasn't dead. He was still alive, barely clinging on. Getting frustrated, Bella and Cooper decided that they would simply bury him, alive. They pulled him out into the yard and dug a hole to bury him. But this wasn't going so well, and they got tired before they even dug the hole deep enough, so they just buried him partially and left him there. It was a little while later that possibly Bella started feeling a bit guilty. Maybe all that it was that she started coming down from a high. The reasons why are unknown, but the couple decided to suddenly hide all of the items that they used in the assault and try to get the man some help. Bella contacted emergency services herself and reported that a man had been assaulted and that his life was on the line. The EMTs came out, and it goes without saying that they were horrified at what they saw. The EMTs were able to tell that the attack had occurred over a prolonged period of time, as not all of these wounds were fresh. While Samuel was packed into the ambulance and rushed off to Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, the police were called to come evaluate the scene. The police recognized all three of them, Bella, Cooper, and Samuel. They confirmed to the media that all three of them were known to the police, but they didn't go into detail. While they weren't able to confirm exactly why Samuel was on the property in the first place, they did confirm that they were looking into drug-related circumstances as their first line of inquiry. By far, Bella and Cooper were the prime suspects from the get-go. In fact, they were the only suspects. However, confusingly, the two seemed pretty surprised that they were getting arrested. Especially Bella. Even though she had contacted the emergency services herself, she never assumed that anyone would actually suspect her. She flew into a rage, biting one police officer and spitting on another before being restrained. They were then thrown into cuffs and carted off to the police station to await their fate. For the time being, given that Samuel was alive, the two were held on charges of attempted murder. Meanwhile, their victim was in the hospital, still in critical condition. He would only manage to cling to life for 2 days, though, eventually losing his battle in the hospital despite their best efforts. Now, Bella and Cooper were in even more trouble. Their charges were increased from attempted murder to full-on first-degree murder after that. It wasn't long before the media came out to inform the public that an OF model and a broke young aspiring rapper had literally buried a man alive in the woods so close to their homes. A detective inspector told the media, "A crime scene was declared at the address, and the property has been subject to forensic examination by police resources, including the scenes of crime and scientific police officers, the dive squad, and investigators from the Moreton District and Homicide Investigation Unit. This crime scene continues today, and it's expected that it will continue. It was obvious that this male person has sustained significant injuries to his body. At this stage, indications are that the injuries sustained by the alleged victim occurred over a reasonably prolonged period of time, but that will be determined by further investigation." The community was rightfully confused, as the area had previously been completely safe, with Bella and Cooper only having moved in about a month and a half prior. The police told them, "The victim has sustained multiple injuries and his cause of death will be determined by a pathologist." The pathologist then determined that the victim had indeed been tortured over a long period of time, completely covered in wounds with deep strangulation marks. The real killers, though, were the catastrophic injuries to his head in the end. Due to this report, the police were able to conclude multiple things. 1. The couple had unlawfully detained the victim, which was already illegal in itself. Then there were additional charges of torture and grievous bodily harm to be made as well. They were also hit with the charge of disabling to commit an indictable offense, given that they had effectively rendered Samuel disabled by strangling him over and over again until he was barely able to move. And then, of course, most importantly of all were the murder charges. They weren't getting out of this one. The police made an application to test Bella for diseases after all of her biting and spitting. She cockily smiled to the police, responding very politely with a "yes, I will," and agreeing that she would take the test. Meanwhile, investigators combed the property looking for a number of weapons used in the 3-day assault. Namely the wire, the shotgun, and anything else that might have been used. Mainly, there was a large dam near the property where they could have easily disposed of all of the items. The police would need them to make an airtight, solid case against the couple when it came to court. 2 days after Samuel's death, a memorial tribute was posted in his honor to the Nurses and Midwives Memorial Page Australia. It read, "Rest in peace, Samuel. Thank you for your service to nursing. Condolences to your family, friends, and colleagues." Cooper Bunny was hit with a whole slew of charges in the end, 9 of them to be exact. The charges were of murder, common assault, deprivation of liberty, disabling in order to commit indictable offense, grievous bodily harm, observations or recordings in breach of privacy, genital or anal region, torture, wounding, and unlawful possession of weapons. Bella Louise Scheibel was hit with all of those charges herself, except she was in a little bit more trouble than Cooper. In addition to every charge he had, she also got smacked with a charge of serious assault of a police officer. The charges of unlawful possession of weapons were quite serious on their own, being that their shotgun was a Category A weapon and it was used to commit a serious crime. All in all, any of their charges could have resulted in some serious jail time on their own. It went without saying that the two of them were completely screwed. Both of them still remain in custody to this day as they await their inevitable court dates, but there's no word on when that's actually going to take place. While Bella and Cooper appeared in court on July 4th for a hearing, not much has really taken place since then. It came time for Bella to appear in court once again via video. Then she attempted to apply for bail at the Caboolture Magistrates Court, but it goes without saying that she was firmly denied due to the severity of the charges against her. Samuel's good friend from school said that he was extremely sad to hear about what had happened. He had a message for Bella and Cooper, saying, "You tortured and murdered my friend. You deserve absolutely nothing. He did not deserve that. You and your fucking wannabe rapper deserve every form of punishment there is. Sam was so loved, which is clearly something you've been without your entire life. The world will be better off without you. We want our Sam back." Ever since the two have been in jail, they haven't been able to curate their Instagram comments. And let's just say they've been anything but friendly. Once again, thank you for watching my video. If you found it interesting, please give it a like, it really helps me out in the algorithm, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Just recently, I've started a podcast with 4 friends called the NBR Podcast. If you find this channel interesting, you might like that one too. I've also opened up a merch store. There you can get yourself some cool Dire Trip related t-shirts. If you want, go ahead and follow me on social media, because if anything were to ever happen to this channel again, that would probably be the only way you'd ever hear about it. I also really appreciate when people follow me on Patreon. There you can get videos early, ad-free, and uncensored. Channel memberships are back up too, and you get the same benefits there as well. Once again, this has been your host Kyle. Thank you, and good night.